Okay, this is going to be my first essay. I think I'm going to do what Professor Black Truth does, and this is going to be an unfortunate subject, and it's in regards to this newest child murder victim. And recently, there's known, I just found today that there's some other girl. I think her name was Stefica Smith, went missing, and then when I picked up the paper this morning, and before that, I knew what the outcome was going to be. Unfortunately, sure enough, they found her body, and this is in Maypen, and she was her body was found in past four bushes in Four Pass area, and she was last seen on Saturday. So, and this and it, from way they just described it is like she was basically raped, all right, because that day and raped before she was murdered. And I'm gonna say this though is that I'm thoroughly disgusted and sickened what happened to this poor girl. Bear in mind, I didn't know her, don't know what she was like, but she doesn't deserve this sick death. But it's what's so telling about this. This is just, and I've said this online today. Is basically same old. Like same thing happens. Like child, most for most cases, a female child goes missing, and a majority of them end up dead like this. And again, I'm disgusted, but it's basically just so what I said line second verse same as the first. All right. Is basically what's basically so telling about this is that it's become the norm at this point. Unfortunately, hear these kind of new hear these news hear these stories. All right, and what makes me frustrated? I mean, like, bear in mind, I do hope whoever killed her dies a very brutal, violent death. I mean, words can't describe what that should happen to the person or people who did this to this girl. But the thing is, though, is that what the response and what is done to offset this stuff. That is what I'm more angry about in this though. It's just like, despite the fact that Stefica Smith, has become the latest casualty, what's not happening is that there's no laws, harsher laws being passed or enforced. I've not heard the politicians on either side, opposition or government, say we are going to cooperate and pass some tougher laws to deal with people who do this to children. And bear in mind, it's not just going to be about kids. Anyone who murders innocent civilians, there need to be harsher laws passed forth, and those harsh laws need to be enforced by the system. All right, but this is where I'm going to get to is that no laws have been passed. Going to be passed. There's going to be all this fake outrage and tears about this poor girl's death. And then what's going to happen is that you may or may not get some suspects who may or may not be involved in this girl's killing. The suspect will not be named, all right? I mean, I can understand if they're not sure who did it. They don't want to give name to the public and make him a target to some people. But overall thing is, whether or not the person's guilty, that person will most likely not be charged. The person will go about his business. And what else will not happen is that there's a likelihood that there's some people in that area who know who did it, who had idea who did it, but either they're going to protect that person or they are going to, or out of cowardice or complicitness, that they have no problem with this demonic piece of shit, walk of shit, doing this to a girl. All right, just like all the many other females, like Shantae Skyers, Yana Francis. I could go on and on. All right, but by the end of the day is that there's some people in these communities who decide that they're not going to, if they know who did it for real, they have evidence who did it, they're not going to tell that person police. And I understand that the people who might do it, they don't know if the police are actually going to do anything or charge a person, especially if that person may have connections in the police force. And let's just face it, that's part of the issue. But still, there's no excuse for hiding criminal scumbags like this. Because even if they're afraid of police and people know who did it, light that person up, literally kill that person where they stand. All right, I don't feel any way about that. But again, people are not, and this is going to lead to what my main gripes and contentions are, is that this is basically about Jamaica. All right, I'm not blaming this nation for this Girl's death. I mean, God knows there's so many casualties like this. It goes into millions at this point. But the thing is that this is the end result. This girl's death is the end result of what this country has allowed itself to be. All right, and bear in mind, I understand where the what elements, what foundation this country is built on, and basically it was built by criminals. I mean, the Spaniards who came in, killed off the Arawaks. The British then came in and they brought their worst forms of governance to Jamaica. That moral debauchery, moral degeneracy, all right, and that class system, which has just been so damaging. But and so on. But by the end of the day, is also the fact that too many of the people Jamaicans is like we decided, unfortunately, to make a pact with wickedness, evil. All right, Jamaicans, unfortunately, not all of us, too many of us though, made an unfortunate pact with the devil, with evil. We decided rather than fighting evil, all right, cause way this is, and the blame goes on all across the boards. Where it's a so-called joke of a justice system we have, all right, or some of the ordinary civilians not willing to do anything when they could, all right, rather than won't say threaten, rather than push it, make it clear to these politicians, these lawmakers, that they need to change the laws, force harsher laws on criminals, rather than coddling or condoning criminality. And basically, we do. You should be saying, you better change the laws or else. All right? All right? And it should be a part where these people in power should be afraid of the or else part that said, you are going to put all that money that you've been stealing from the taxpayers' monies to from some other bullshit. You're going to put it into having better test forensic and technology for these for police work. All right. You're also going to be putting surveillance cameras and drones around these areas. You're going to have a proper DNA testing system so that we can and those people who have a record of deviant behavior, and, all right, they're on their data file. All right. There are ways they can find out who these murderers and monsters are. But again, too many Jamaicans made a pact that we're comfortable, we're willing to accept the fact that we are slowly sinking like quicksand, all right? And yeah, we're not as worse off as some other countries, but we're still in a shithole state, all right? And the thing is that Jamaicans, we could easily turn this around. It might not be overnight, but we chose to entertain this system of moral degeneracy that we have. All right. Now, if all of these measures have been implemented years and years ago, chances are this girl would be alive. Same with Shanti Sky's and France. And yeah, I know people say a lot of blame goes towards the parents and how they raise their children. And again, didn't know this girl like these other ones. Yeah, I know some of these girls can be unruly, undisciplined, and whatever. And I'm not condoning if they were into some foolish behavior. I'm not condoning, but then again, this is very telling how they were raised or not raised. So the blame has to go to parents in that regards. But the thing is, as I said, this girl's death is the end result of us making a pact to coexist with evil. All right. One thing I say online is that these girls killers. They're reading the newspapers now, they're watching the news, and they're laughing it off right now because they know that they're not likely going to get caught, right? All right, B, whether or not people know who it is, and B, even they get exposed, they'll probably just be out of jail in 1 or 2 weeks, and nothing's going to happen to them, and that's what emboldens a lot of these criminals. All right. Is that they know there is no fear of repercussions, and this is why they do these things, because they know that if I can get away with doing this stuff and no repercussions are going to happen to me, I'm good. No, let this girl, like all these others, been the children of some uptown people. Yeah, then they're going to do something. Then the laws, politicians, the police force, whoever, they're definitely going to do something and catch this girl's killer, or at least have a suspect, because that's what's important though. But as I say, fact though, is that This is what we've allowed this country go to, and I'm sick of the fake outrage. Because what's going to happen is that we go through the motions, we see, hear these stories, we get outraged about it, and that's rightfully so. And nothing happens. All right, no. There and as all the things I've said before are going to play out just the same way. Again, just a circular results. And then we're going to be hearing about the next child or adult who comes a victim by the end of this week. I suspect by even tomorrow or the end of this week, we're going to be hearing about them. And the end result is many of these people's killers will not be caught. All right. But the thing is, like I said with Jamaicans, all of this is us thinking that we can allow the spirit of wickedness to continue to hold this island in a stranglehold because, yes, face it, way too many of us Jamaicans are lazy and we're cowards, all right? We don't exercise, we don't show that we should be pushing back against it. We can make all the prayers we want, and I'm not knocking prayer and everything, but if that prayer doesn't lead to direct action, that's basically just talking to yourself out loud, all right? And the thing is that people in Jamaica, you need to get off this fuckery that the government's not going to do anything about it. They've made it clear from the get-go decades ago that we do not give a flying fuck about most of Jamaican people. All right, and most people know this by now, but again, we're so cowardly and we're too weak-willed to move beyond that. Because at this point, some people in this neighborhood in Maypen should be hunting this girl's killer. Find out who it really was, get all the proof, and then hunt that person down, kill that person where you stand. We should be hearing that person's dead body has been discovered, all right, or some mob of people have been ran upon him and lit him up where he stood. All right, about that's what we should be hearing. And this is about the father. And I condone the father, but the father, you need to hear this perspectively. You need to know that the police are not likely going to do shit about your daughter. It hurts to say this, but most likely, yeah, they're most likely have a suspect in custody. There's no chance that that suspect's going to get charged, whether or not the person did it, and they'll just be waiting till it dies down, and then move on to the next business. Because a lot of these police officers, I'm sorry, not all of you, but even the one police officers who are not like that, they will agree with me and say, we don't care about this girl. Now, again, if she's uptown, yeah, we're going to care because we're afraid of what her parents or family members or rest of the elite are going to do to her jobs if we don't take actions. All right. The father, I really hope this guy is about that life. All right. This guy, and I've said this earlier before, is that this guy should do what Liam Neeson's character did in the Taken movie series, like get a strap gun if he's about that life, and hunt down that person and put that person in a body bag for what he did to the daughter, or at least not you. Get some people, relatives, friends who are about that life. All of them should be hunting that person right now, and all of them should be hunting, be aiming to put that guy, whoever did it, with his master down in hell. That's sadly the only type of justice what needs to happen. But this is what point I'm trying to make is that this is I'm disgusted what happened to this poor girl. I'm more disgusted that we are chose to allow Jamaica to get to this stage. We chose to cultivate this negative, evil, barbaric spirits. And rather than conquering, destroying those spirits, we played the denial game. We had the fake outrage game, and then when all this is done, we'll then be moving on to the next victim. All right, because not enough people have the courage or guts to do us right. And yeah, and as I said before, don't count on the politicians or the police for many people in the police force, all right, to do their to get justice because they made their pact, they made their peace that they're not going to do anything, all right. They've come to the they've decided to be like Nero the Roman emperor who fiddled while Rome burns, because they're okay. They made the fact that we just want to have a nice, slow, peaceful death, rather because we don't have the backbone, moral backbone, to do what's really right, to steer this country away from the crime and corruption demons. But this has been my first address, right? And as I said, though, is that the sad part about this is that this girl is a representative of what happens when we let evil and wickedness rule or coexist in this country. And the people who are listening, you're going to think to yourself, yeah, whatever, we're just going to away. But you have to understand that there's a consequence for allowing moral degeneracy and wickedness and evil to cultivate and take over a nation. Everybody in some ways pays a price. All right. And this goes for all aboard, the politicians, the people, the upper class, even and ordinary Jamaicans as well. Like, there is a price you're all going to pay, and the thing that price is that not all of us are going to make it. All right, and this hurts me to say this, but not all of us are fit to make it, because many of us made our peace with the fact that we're a nation of lazy cowards. All right. And this girl is paid and many of these females have paid the price. All right. And this is my first essay address. All right. There's more I could say, but I just be repeating myself. So again, rest in peace, this poor girl. May your killer meet his or their end, even more violent than you do. All right. Hopefully they should be bearing her killers next. All right. Right. All right. We can't bring her back, but we can make sure the people who did this to her are no longer in the mortal coil where they can hurt anybody else. So that's how I close out this evening's address. And let's go and stay to Jamaican Caribbean. Check my other YouTube pages, Miles Goodison Farron and Miles J Productions. Okay.